lot of action on the street today, huh, Willie?
Yep. Oh, check out the German V8.
Ooh, 64 dream car.
At Shelter Insurance, we insure all your favorite rides and have since 1946.
Sweet pickup. Hiya, Muggsy.
Yo.
From Hot Wheels to hybrids, we've got you covered.
Hey, mailman.
Love those shoes.
Hey, where you going?
Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Agent Mark Manning about Shelter's auto insurance discounts.
Well, it's Let's Talk Sports with Bud Black, and I'm David Black reporting. And as always, the program is brought to you by the Bank of England Mortgage Company out at the Village Mall. Kenny Thaxton, and what a job he does. If you're in the market to buy a home and you're needing some financing for that home and you don't know where to go or where to turn to, I mean, you need to let the guys who are professional and knowledgeable about what you need, and what you need is to talk to Kenny Thaxton and his crew out at the Village Mall, simply because they can lead you, they can guide you, they can direct you, they can show you the best way to apply for a loan, they can help you along through the process, they do all the work for you. If you're in the market to buy that home and you need money, I recommend Kenny Thaxton. Please give him a call at 495-3931. Let's talk a little sports. I'm filming today on October the 14th, 2018, and I want to look back to this past Friday night at legendary Greyhound Field and talk about all the great things that happened as far as I was concerned, as our family. First of all, I want to talk about the 1968 football reunion. The football team in 1968 was an undefeated football team, and we honored those guys this past Friday night, and there was a absolutely awesome group of people that showed up. We had over 100 and something people in the lobby, the new lobby over there at the gymnasium, to celebrate this football team. We honored the team, we honored the cheerleaders, we honored the in the team, I mean the coaches, the players, the trainers, so on and so forth, but the cheerleaders, the royalty. We wanted to include all the groups that were involved in that 1968 team, a historical year, 10-0, undefeated, a football team that scored 301 points and allowed 54 in having that undefeated year. It was just one of the great football teams in Newport High School history 50 years ago, and what a pleasure it was for me to work with John G. Pennington, my good friend, and getting this reunion together and honoring the guys. And we had a halftime celebration I'm sure that you've seen on Facebook. But to get to bring those guys back and to recognize them, a group in our lifetime that actually set the foundation for what Greyhound football is today. And it was just an honor to do it. I was moved by the experience. And then to top everything off on the night, not only to go along with this 68 reunion and the celebration of that, the honoring of Bud Black, number 70, class of 1968, by the Greyhound alumni game members. And Jane, myself, Kenny, and Linda, we were there to accept on Bud's behalf. What an honor for those guys. The alumni football game, which is played every year, and these guys wanted to thank us and to honor Bud, and we thank them for doing so. And Audra Hinkle Lovelady, thank you so much for including Bud Black in the celebration, and we were honored that you did. Bud Black meant a lot to this football program. He certainly meant a lot to our family, and we were just so excited, and it just absolutely meant a lot to us in our heart that you guys would consider honoring Bud Black. So a big sports weekend on sports, just that alone was enough to keep me going adrenaline-wise for a long time. And, you know, the Greyhounds, as we speak, are on a roll, too. They're 6-1 on the year, 4-0 in the conference. Great things happening. You'll see this on through the month, and you'll know a little bit more about that. But right now, where we stand, the Hounds have a great opportunity to get in as a number 1 seed. They've got 3 football games left. we have to go on the road to Corning, on the road to Piggott, and then what looks like maybe a conference championship game looming the next week at Osceola. So 3 weeks from the day that we're filming, the Newport Greyhounds and Osceola Seminoles should line up for a conference championship if we do what we're supposed to do along the way. You still got to go on the road to beat Corning. You still have to go on the road to beat Piggott, and certainly both of those games will be challenging for our football team. Looking forward to what's in store for the rest of the playoffs and getting into playoffs and see what happens for the Newport Greyhounds. And lots of sports going on around Newport, the state of Arkansas, and certainly around the nation. We certainly love sports, and that'll do it for another edition of Bud Black on Sports. I'm David Black for Kenny Thaxton. Until next time, so long. The Tuckerman Medical Clinic, an affiliate of White River Health System, is now a newer, bigger location. Patients can find the clinic at 100 East Main Street in Tuckerman. Improvements of the new space include a larger, more comfortable waiting area with extra seating. Just off the waiting area is a kids' room designed to keep kids entertained and less anxious about seeing a provider. The room gives children their own space, but the window allows parents to keep a close eye on them. Improvements in confidentiality are a big advantage of the new location. Patient rooms are larger with better insulation for privacy, and the new lab, while also larger, provides a closed-off location for the nurse to speak to the patients in confidence. A consultation room gives the provider a comfortable space to privately discuss important details with the patient and their families. Outside of the building, better signage makes the clinic easy to view from the highway, and convenient parking is a plus. The provider at Tuckerman Medical Clinic is Vanessa Falwell, APRN. Other staff members include Tanya Carlton, RN, and Rami Benish, clinical receptionist. The clinic is open from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday. To make an appointment, call 870-624-2892. We're downtown Newport with John Chadwell, the Executive Director of the Newport Economic Development Commission, and we come down and get to talk about things that are happening around our community. And each and every month, it's an ever-changing world that we live in, and lots of change happening here and good things happening. We got a couple of things that we want to talk about that's coming up in this month that are just absolutely outstanding recognition for the city of Newport, Arkansas. Let's talk about those two things, John.
We do. On October 17th, we're going to have a group come, and they're going to make an announcement about Select Site. So we're going to be one of a handful of communities that sites got an announcement about our site, and it's scheduled for 1:30 to 2 here at our offices. If you're interested, come down. But it's going to be a neat announcement, and like I said, we're one of a handful of communities who've managed to reach that at this point. Others will in the future.
Sure.
But we always like being one of the first ones out of the chute. And then on the 23rd, October 23rd, we're going to have another announcement. Head of AEDC's coming and making an announcement about a program we've been participating with. Don't want to steal too much of their thunder.
Right, absolutely.
But those are two big announcements that are going to be here about successes we've had in Newport, and I think if you can make either one of them, that'd be great.
Well, you talk about the success and the model of success, which we seem to think and we want to believe because people are telling us. We're not patting ourselves on the back and saying we're doing well. People around the state of Arkansas are saying you guys are doing fantastic work, and people are coming to Newport, Arkansas, other cities, to look at our plan, to look at our model, and to see what we're doing so well that would make them and help them do what we're doing.
Oh, sure. We have people regularly on a monthly basis come up to look at some facet of what the chamber's doing, or what the NEDC is doing, or what our downtown group is doing, or maybe what we're doing all together, and see how they can model that in their community. And you know, our philosophy is one of the things we do. People think that we compete a lot with Jonesboro, we compete a lot with Batesville. Most of the time, the initial competition with Arkansas towns is out of the way pretty quick. So if you're getting to the finals of a project, it's no longer you and one of the Arkansas towns, it's rather us and a town in Tennessee, or a town in Missouri, or a town in Texas, or something like that. And so part of what we need to do is help enhance the image of the state.
Sure.
And so our philosophy is anything we can do to help any other town in Arkansas improve itself and be better and do things better, then we want to do that because that elevates the reputation of the state overall. And anything we can steal from somebody else that helps improves us or elevates us, then we want to do the same thing. But yeah, these two announcements that are coming up from Entergy and from AEDC just show that here locally we've put in the work, we've gone through the efforts, we've gone through the state's guidelines, but then we've also got a relationship with our partners because Entergy and AEDC have helped both of us, achieve these designations. And so we've got a good relationship with them. We know how to work with them. We're willing to put in the work. And any company looking at us would say, hey, there's a community that doesn't mind pulling up their sleeves and getting it done.
That's right.
That's important. And that's important for companies looking at us to say, oh, wow, they were willing to do this. Their site is this, or their community is designated as this. And it makes a big difference that we're willing to do that. Julie got her professional community and economic developer status. She took the exam a little over a month ago. Only 50% of the people who took the exam passed it.
Wow.
So she did a great job. And there are less than 10 communities in the state that have 2 certified professionals on their chamber economic development staff.
Wow.
And
Wow,
here we are.
congratulations.
And we are by far the smallest one.
Right.
But one of the things we like to say around here is being small is no excuse for not doing it right.
Right.
And so we can do things just like, there's some things we can't offer that a big city can offer, but there's a lot of things we can do just like a big city can.
Sure.
And then there's a lot of things we can offer that a big city can't come close to.
A lot of advantages living in a town our size.
So we want to be as professional as possible in our organizations so that they don't feel like they're settling when they deal with a smaller town. But on the other hand, we can offer them the professionalism, the opportunity, the infrastructure that anywhere else can. So proud of Julie and what she did there.
You bet.
And it's just it's a good compliment to our community that the organizations are invested in being the best they can, that the staff is invested in being the best it can, and that we actively go after both personal designations and certifications and then designations and certifications from an organizational perspective. And it makes a difference when folks are looking.
Well, before we get off here, we want to talk a little bit about the medical marijuana facilities and kind of give everybody an update there.
Sure. We have 2 that will be locating in Jackson County, and Delta Medical Cannabis Company and Natural State Wellness Enterprises will both be building a facility here, a cultivation grow facility here. They are both in building plan mode and working on building plans. There's still some questions at the state level that have to be solved before they can finalize their building plans. The state's still got to decide, are these going to be classified as an agricultural facility, or are they going to be classified as a manufacturing facility? There's a lot of gray area because it falls in. So they're going about as fast as they can, pending other people making decisions that impact them.
Absolutely.
Because how you build your building depends on what you're classified as and things like that. So we're actively working with them and hoping. I read one of them was quoted in Talk Business that they hope to be under construction and operation by February.
Wow.
So they're looking at a short time span.
Well, exciting news, and congratulations on the distinctions. And when you start talking about energy and NEDC and Arkansas Department, coming to honor us and say, you guys are doing things right because y'all did it the right way. Certainly a good job of John Jadwell and the NEDC board. Congratulations, my friend.
That's something we got to say. We got a great commission. They like to stay in the background. I get to be the front person and do the talking.
Sure.
But we got a great 9-person commission who gives a whole lot of thought to economic development issues and community development issues, and they don't get paid a dime.
That's absolutely right.
They serve on it because they want to make the community better. And in fact, sometimes they've foregone stuff they could have had just because they didn't feel like it'd be right because they were on that commission. So I appreciate the men and women who serve on there, and they represent a pretty diverse group of people in our community. We got all backgrounds represented on the community side, so when we have an issue that comes before the commission, somebody on that commission knows a whole lot about that issue and can help educate.
You bet. It's John Chadwell. He is the executive director, it's kind of hard for me to say, of Newport Economic Development Commission. And we do a lot of work, and we get on here. We don't get to talk about everything that's going on. We'd be on here for a long, long time. But I'm very proud of what you do and how you represent our community, my friend. John Chadwell, NEDC. Thank you, sir. Sinclair Wilborn from Unity Health Harris Medical Center will join us. My friend, it's always a pleasure to get to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. How's things going?
It's going good. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
It has been too long, but it's awesome to be back actually in Newport. This is where I started my career.
Right.
So about 20 years ago, I started working in the prison system here
Right.
and the mental health side. And that's actually how I got my start. And so it's really nice to come full circle and be here at Unity and here in the Newport community. So I'm really excited to be here with you.
Tell us a little bit, for those who might not know who you are, and tell us a little bit about you, your family, where you grew up, education-wise, so on and so forth.
Okay, so I'm Sinclair Winburn. I'm actually a therapist, a psychotherapist. Probably a little more psycho than therapist, but hey, that's how
right
it
too.
is.
I know you.
But I have a lot of fun. I like dealing with people. I like helping people, and I started my career doing a mixture of mental health and actually ministry within churches. Actually, was here in Emmanuel Baptist Church years ago with the church system, and then, like I said, worked in mental health in the prison, and. Actually, with that work, that's what got me into hospitals, was the experience that I had helping out in the prison system. Hospitals actually deal with a lot of difficult patients, and of course we had some pretty difficult ones in the prison system. So I ended up getting involved working with hospitals, and the one thing that we see now is that there are a lot of people that are having mental health problems. Anxiety and depression are at all-time highs, and people are just struggling. Life is difficult, and people need resources.
Sure.
And there's a lot of people that you and I, we have family, we have friends, we have people we go to. There's a lot of people who aren't as fortunate, and then they hit a point in their life where they need professional help. And so one of the exciting things is that here at Harris, we have opened a new adult psychiatric unit. It is a 12-bed unit, and it's designed to help people that are struggling with suicidal thoughts, severe depression and anxiety, other problems such as schizophrenia. And these issues, as you see, you can see it on the news. It's just becoming more and more of an issue with our culture and society that it's been unaddressed for so long, and now the good thing is we're starting to deal with it, and we're taking that stigma off, because it's okay if you have mental health problems. It's no different than having a cold.
That's correct.
You go get it taken care of. Right. And so we have this resource here now that's great for the community. We've also started seeing people in outpatient with. We have a clinic across the street from the hospital called Clarity, where we have psychiatric residents that see patients and doing some therapy and medication management as well. So it doesn't have to be something so serious that you have to come to the hospital.
Right.
You can talk to folks out in the clinic across the street. So again, it's just really exciting what's going on here for the community.
Well, there's no doubt a tremendous need, as you say, and providing services that no doubt are needed. They're needed in all communities. Unity Health and Harris Medical Center has stepped up to the board and invested a lot of dollars for the facility itself, and then bringing in the professionals that we use for what we need. And you understand the commitment. I certainly understand the commitment. We want our community to understand the commitment that there's help there if you need it. Help there if you need it.
And there is absolutely no shame. One of the things that, like I said, it affects everyone. It's not just rich folks, poor folks. It affects everyone. And probably all of us have struggled with some depression or anxiety at some point. But I mean, we see anyone from, we see all ages that are struggling with it, all incomes. You see teachers, you see doctors, you see nurses, you see everybody, it runs the full gamut of folks in our society. And the good thing, like I said, is that stigma is starting to break, and people are starting to feel more comfortable saying, "Hey, I need to talk to someone."
You bet.
And that's a
What
great thing.
made you, as a young man, when did you decide that this was the route that you might wanted to travel, and what made you decide that?
Well, I tell you, I wanted to be involved in helping people and making a difference. I knew that very early on. I can talk to anyone, and I'm not shy. I'm generally pretty good at listening, and so I wanted to make a difference, whether through the church, and I'm always involved in ministry with whatever church I'm affiliated with, and but I decided, because I enjoyed that, I actually wanted to do it on a professional level and help people with their mental health as well. It's something that kind of comes naturally. I mean, it's a God-given, I would say, just aspect of who I am.
Sure.
It's, because whether I was doing, I'm more in administration right now.
Right.
I do deal a lot with crisis and such, but even on that front, it's how you treat people. I want to, wherever I'm at, I want to treat people with respect.
Absolutely.
Treat them decently, because that makes them better people. That helps our folks here at Harris Medical Center, employees. It helps them better treat the patients. And so it's really just about, I want to do good for people, and I want us to be good to others. That's what makes the difference. People don't go home from leaving the hospital and say, "Man, I'm so excited to be at the hospital." The hospital stinks. No one wants to be in the hospital.
That's exactly right.
But if you have that person that was good to you and treated you as if you mattered, you go home and you remember that. Say, "I didn't really want to be in the hospital, but that person said, hey, they took the time out of their day to make me feel like I mattered," and that is what it's about right there.
If someone is out there and think that they or somebody in their family might need some help, how do we go about getting with you guys to get some of that professional help?
Well, there's a couple different ways. I mean, one way that you can access is actually through the emergency room. If it's actually emergent, if you're to the point where you're having suicidal thoughts, or you're feeling anything that could be dangerous, don't take any chances. Call an ambulance, come to the ER, and one of our professionals is going to assess and try to help you out. You or your loved one, anyone needs any kind of assistance on an outpatient basis, wants to talk to a counselor, talk to a psychiatrist. We do have that available through the Clarity Clinic, and that covers Searcy or Newport.
Okay.
And so actually our folks in Searcy handle our scheduling, and that number is 501-203-0055.
Okay.
That's 501-203-0055. So that's a resource that is available for this community, and like I say, in Searcy as well. We also, besides accessing through the emergency room, we have primary care doctors as well, and they know how to access services. So don't hesitate to reach out to your primary care physician if you or your family member needs assistance.
Yeah, there is help there, and we want people to know that there's help here at Unity Health at Harris Medical Center, and there's no doubt if my good friend Sinclair is in charge right here, it's going to be a good program. There's no doubt about it, my friend.
Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence, and I'm definitely excited to be here. It's just, this is a great place, and it has come so far, and we just want to keep doing a better job taking care of our community. So thanks for having me.
Sinclair Wilborn, good to see you, my friend, and you keep doing good work here at Unity Health.
Thank you, sir.
You hear us say it a lot here on Cable Channel 15 TV when we do these interviews each month, and David Black along with Tommy Bain, and where the rubber meets the road. That's at Farmer's Tire Mart, Malcolm Avenue right here in Newport. Been doing it for a long, long time. And folks, if you're interested in some type of tire, whether it be automobile tires for your car, big truck tires, you need truck tires, on off-road tires, you need mud tires. They handle all those type of tires down there. Tractor tires, trailer tires, ATV, lawn mowers, if you name it, they can probably get the tire if you're looking for a tire. And automobile services, now is the time of year we're getting in, we're filming on the first real cool snap of the fall. It's coming, wintertime is fixing to set in. Make sure you go by and let those folks check your antifreeze. Don't wait till it gets 22 degrees and it's too late and the old engine in the block locks up because it freezes up. go by and let them check. They need a little antifreeze service. They'll be more than happy to get that done for you, but make sure you get that done. They fix flats, they do oil changes, they'll check your belts, your hoses, tire rotations, front end work, brakes, front and rear, all minor repairs on your automobile at Farmer's Tire Mart. Tommy Bain and his staff have been doing it a long, long time. Their technicians are very, very good. You can visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/Farmer's Tire Mart or go to our website at www.farmerstiremart.com. So again, don't forget to get your antifreeze checked for the winter. If you need service on your automobile, you're going to take a trip this time of year, make sure you get in there and let them check your tires. Make sure you've got the correct amount of air in your tires because that has a ton to do with what kind of gas mileage you get on your car. Lots of automobile service, tires, and tires. More tires than you can ever imagine. If they don't have them in stock, they can have them there in just a couple of days. Do a little business with the friendly folks at Farmer's Tire Mart where the rubber meets the road, Malcolm Avenue here in Newport. And we welcome Jan Jackson Maris to the Business Spotlight, and of course shown on Facebook, YouTube, and all over the world, the World Wide Web. And it's always my pleasure to get to see you. How's Jan Jackson at Jackson's Funeral Home?
Jan Jackson Maris is wonderful.
Absolutely good.
Absolutely grateful for every day.
I said Jan Jackson, and I knew it was Jan Jackson Maris because you're married to Red, aren't you?
Well, I have been for almost 33 years. So.
Yeah, that is right. Hey, listen,
Which I don't feel much over 33. So
I thought you were just 33. I knew you got married when you were very young. We talk a lot about service that Jackson's Funeral Home provides in our community, and it's a big weekend. The day we filmed of the '68 reunion alumni football game and lots of things. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about today is service that we give to those who have served us.
Yes.
Our veterans. And there are some things that you'd like to share, and we want to, Veterans Day's coming up in November, but talk a little bit about what we provide and what we do and how important it is to us.
Well, our veterans have always been a big part of my heart, and my dad was a World War II veteran, Jerry was a veteran of Vietnam, and we have always, my dad in his younger years served as a VFW service officer, and he helped many people get their VA pensions going and disability, and he was very active in the VFW and American Legion for years and years, and he was a post commander and all of those things, and I was just always brought up with a great sense of awe for our country and for our veterans, for the men who have served. And as time has gone by, we used to have a band of veterans who would take all of the VA markers and set them at no cost. And that band has dwindled now, and they're gone, and the last one that we lost was Mr. J.C. McMahon. And so as that has gone away, we at Jackson's Funeral Home, when we have a veteran that passes away, we take the monument and set it at no cost to our families. Unless they want to buy granite or something that matches. And we set the bronze one on a very nice concrete base. And when we set the granite markers, we pour Quickcrete and set them and level them. And our men take their time in the hot summertime and the cold winter time and pour that concrete and make it look nice, and then go out there and set the VA markers. And we're very grateful for them, and we do that for our Jackson's Funeral Homes and our Thompson Wilson Funeral Homes in Wyndham McCrory.
Well, there's no doubt it's just another way that we give. We're giving back to the community, and we continue to do so, and certainly our veterans are, and we still have veterans that come back, that are overseas today and that come home, and but there's something to say about those who fought in World War I, World War II now, and so how few veterans that we have around the country, and losing them daily. But we certainly honor those folks. We
do honor them, and I'm grateful to them from the bottom of my heart. And for the young men and women who are serving today. And, through the years, I learned I never used to think about asking if a woman was a veteran.
Right,
But
right, yeah.
there are many women, older women, who served during World War II. And it's incredible to learn their stories and what they did and the contribution that they made.
Sure, absolutely.
And that,
Women
and
did.
that young women do today.
You know, it's funny, during my this 1968 Grand Football reunion that we're doing, like I said earlier, in trying to find some of the players, and we tried to find all of them if we could, Vaughn Tate was a young man who played on that team. I think he was either a junior or sophomore on that team. And anyway, I was trying to run him down and I didn't have a clue. And so I just eventually found him on Facebook. And his response to me was, I'm in France. I've got to go somewhere else today. He said, you know, I'm still training soldiers.
Wow.
And so you learn about people. I said, well, there's Vaughn Tate, a graduate of Newport High School and Arkansas State University, and ran track over there, and just a great human being, but serving our country. And I didn't know that, and it's good to know that. And there are people coming back. The Major General James Eddie Simmons is coming to the reunion, and just Colonel Eddie Jones. You know, I just think there's so many of those veterans out there that, from time to time, we don't appreciate them enough. And when I know somebody's a veteran, I'm in a restaurant, and I ask people, you know, and say, tell me about it, and I just say thank you very much. It's just good to honor those veterans.
Absolutely, it is.
Well, I also want to touch on funeral arrangements, pricing as such, fitting budgets. Let's talk a little bit about that at Jackson Funeral Home.
Well, I think one of the most important things is people panic sometimes because they think funerals have to be so very expensive, and they do not. We work very hard. If people say, I have this budget to spend, then we work very hard to work within that budget and get them every service that they want within their budget. And it's just really important to me that we try to honor what people feel comfortable with.
That's what y'all do.
That's what we do.
That's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And again, I always talk about this table where we film, because this table is so important. This is where you come and people make those decisions.
They absolutely do, and there's lots of stories shared around this table, and lots of family secrets told that I keep locked away safely. And
you have to.
And you get to love families that you wait on, and they become part of your family, and it's a good way to meet people and to just open up to them, and them open up to you, and you just feel really close to them by the time everything is over.
Absolutely, you do. And I love what Jackson Funeral Home does on Facebook, where you'll see something where you're remembering a funeral service that happened 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Or what. I love that, because it's remember. Some people might look sometimes, go, oh my gosh, I didn't know somebody passed away, and they did in 2015. But we forget. I mean, we do forget. And it's a great reminder. It is a tremendous reminder.
And the Christmas program makes me remember, because you just those faces that you hadn't seen in a long time, and
you forget. You go, I just forgot, or I do.
And the other day, Donna Morehart, well, I'm sure it's been a month or so or two, and could have been 6. But, she put James's picture up there on Facebook, and I said, it was just good to see his face.
Absolutely.
And that's how you feel or how I feel when I see people.
That's how I feel too. Same thing. Same thing.
And I ran into her and I told her, I said, it was just nice to see him.
Well, from the Black family and the Cable 15 television family, we thank Jackson Funeral Home for what y'all do.
Thank you, David.
I don't get to tell you enough how I appreciate what you do. I know every time I see you at a funeral, I tell you.
Yes, you do.
Because it's awesome when you're there, and the services that you provide are second to none. And I'm talking about the greatest in the world. Thank you so much. And again, the Veterans Day coming up in November. Be sure to thank a veteran when you see a veteran.
Absolutely.
Jan Jackson Maris at the Jackson Funeral Home. We appreciate you taking time to join us.
Thank you, David.
Let's continue on with more. We're at Merchants and Planners Insurance Services in downtown Newport. Caroline Beecham joins us, as she does each and every year, to talk about Medicare and changes and Part A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all of us out there that don't know much about that have to come to you to say, you are the one that we need to talk to tell us about all these Medicare letters of the alphabet. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Exciting time of year. Tell us about, first of all, let's talk about what you do and why we're here today, what we're going to talk about the enrollment period that we have coming up.
Okay. I work with Medicare beneficiaries along with other people who are not Medicare beneficiaries, but specifically this time of the year, it's their annual election period where a Medicare beneficiary has the right to review their plans and to make any changes that they want to their prescription card or their Medicare Advantage plan.
Okay, you talk about people who are on Medicare that need to change something. Tell us some reasons why we might want to look at that as opposed to say, oh, my plan was good last year, I'm okay, there's no need for me to come in.
Well, and that's a good question because a lot of people who are happy, have been happy with their plan in 2018 think they don't need to look at anything for 2019, where in fact, every January, the plans change. Your drugs may not be covered anymore. The copays may have gone up. Your premium may have gone up or it could have gone down.
Sure.
Your plan may not have a deductible and it may have one in 2019. So I think it's a good idea just to review, which doesn't mean you have to change because you don't have to change every year. But I certainly suggest that you look at what the next year's plans are.
I think all of us out there in the public, not being in your position of really knowing the rules and regulations, we really don't know. So that's why we encourage folks to check with you about what possible changes there may be. And you can give us some direction on what we need to do as far as making those changes or not making those changes. Lots of questions that arise during the course of the year, and people are talking about things that change. And one of the things that we want to talk about, when you get the phone call from Medicare and what we're supposed to do, because tell us about the phone calls in Medicare.
Well, first of all, Medicare is, you're not going to get a phone call from
not
Medicare.
gonna call you.
Medicare is not going to call you. So if you get a phone call that sounds like it's from Medicare, and in fact, I had a lady call and said, Medicare is trying to get me to change my plan. And Medicare is not trying to get you to change your plan. They will not be calling you. That is either someone who it's being misunderstood that they are from Medicare, or the implication is there that they're with Medicare. But you will not be getting a call from Medicare.
And Medicare normally would contact you how? How would they?
A letter.
By letter?
Okay. A letter.
So if you get a letter that says you need to check with your agent, that's probably the time to check with your agent. Somebody calls, please don't give them any information on the phone.
Right, and sometimes you're going to get a lot of mail during this time.
Right.
And in fact, people will say they get tons of mail every single day. Be careful with that mail that you get, because some of it does strongly sound like you've got to change plans. So you're welcome to call me.
Right.
At 501-868-6650. That is my direct number.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to go over that information that you've gotten to let you know if it actually is legitimate.
Right.
Or if it's trying to encourage you to do something that they're not familiar with your situation.
I think sometimes we get a little confused also, Caroline, on Medicare and Medicare supplements and the dental coverage part of that as such. And lo and behold, we go to the dentist and all of a sudden we're not covered because we don't have anything. Tell us about why that happens and tell us what we have to do to correct that.
Okay. That's a really good question, because that is a problem that people face all the time, that they'll go to the dentist and they, for some reason, think that Medicare covers their crown or their root canal. or their Medicare supplement does, which a Medicare supplement is only going to supplement what Medicare does not cover.
Right.
And Medicare does not cover dental expenses unless they're medically necessary.
Right.
So in order to get some coverage for dental, because those root canals and crowns can be very
they can.
expensive, then that's when you would need to look at and enroll in a dental plan. And you can do that at any time of the year. This happens to be a good time when you're reviewing everything else that you might want to review that at the same time.
And I always like to open with this question. I didn't, but I'll ask it here toward the end. People get confused about Medicare and Medicaid. And I know a lot of times come and say, I've come into, I need to talk to you about reviewing my Medicaid. But what's the difference between Medicare and Medicaid? What is different about that?
Medicare is a program, a federal program, that people who are either 65 and over are eligible for, or people who are on Social Security disability.
Okay.
Medicaid is strictly related to a program that you may be eligible for based on your income.
Okay. I know that question comes out a lot. It comes out a lot in normal conversation. You'd be sitting around a dinner table with folks and they'd be talking, you know, and at my age now, and they start talking about Medicaid and what Medicaid Part D covered, Part D. I said, I think you're probably talking about Medicare.
Right.
Well, I don't know Medicare, Medicaid, not any difference. I said, no, there is some difference.
So that's when I'll say, get your card out.
That's right.
Get your ID card out.
That's right. Let's look at it.
Let's look at that. And we'll get it straightened out.
Well, it's an important time of year, and again, tell us the dates, and so important for people to come in and review what they have to look at those changes, and no doubt that you'll lead them in the right direction. Tell us those dates again and how will we get in touch with you again.
Okay. Beginning October the 1st, so we're already able to talk about the 2019 plans, but the enrollment period is October the 15th through December the 7th, and those dates are set by the government.
Right.
That is the time where you can review and make any changes that you want to. I'll be more than happy to walk people through the changes for 2019, and my direct number is 501-868-6650.
So if you need some professional information, Caroline Beecham can provide that at Merchants Planners Insurance Services, downtown Newport, Arkansas. And once a year we get together and have our little party here and talk about how good life is, and talk about Medicare. And someday we may have a Medicaid program, but that's not what we do right now. We do Medicare.
Right.
Caroline, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come see us at M&P Insurance Services. St. Michael's Place, Pecan Street, Newport. Each and every month we come by and get to visit with the friendly folks, the good folks. And you don't see Jay Cox in the set today, and that's kind of unusual. But let me tell you what, he's right over here coaching everybody. He's in the room, I can assure you. Gerald Haley, welcome to the program.
Hi. Thank you.
Gerald Carlisle, of course, you know, new administrator here, and came in. And first of all, Gerald, changes always occur when a new administrator comes in, but let's talk about the progress that we're making here at St. Michael's Place.
Well, we now have a new DON, Haley Thomas.
Hi.
And we've got a new RN supervisor coming on in a couple of weeks. I'll let her talk a little bit more about her. We've also hired some other people, department heads, not here right at the moment. Ms. Denita Ross is our head of HR now. So
Okay.
we're getting all the pieces in. We've almost got the team ready, and we are just moving forward. every
Moving
day.
forward, no doubt. And Haley Thomas, welcome. And DON is Director of Nursing that I have found out over the years. I know that.
Yes.
Welcome to St. Michael's Place, and tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up and your family and so on.
So it's very interesting. I was actually raised in Evening Shade, Arkansas.
Evening Shade.
So I come from the hills.
Right.
And but it just so happened I started my career in nursing as a CNA in this very building.
Wow.
Yes. So it kind of feels like I'm coming home.
Good.
Started as a CNA in this building when I was 18 years old. Went on to get my LPN while I was here. Worked on the floor as an LPN here. Did some coordinating with the Alzheimer's unit. And then I went on to further my career as an RN. And when I could, I come back, and here I am.
Well, director of nursing obviously is as the process goes or as the steps go, you're in charge of a group of people. Tell us exactly what your job is. Tell us what you have to do on a day-to-day basis.
So, overseeing the operations of the facility as far as nursing is concerned, my top priority is patient care. Let's have our residents taken care of appropriately, and let's have them happy. A good facility is where life is.
Absolutely.
It's lively. There are things going on, people in and out, everything. So that's what we want. We want to bring life here. We want to hear laughter in the hallways. We want people having fun. We want to, shave Gerald's head one day. I mean, we just want to do all kinds of stuff. We want to build a chicken coop. We need a chicken coop in the courtyard.
Right.
So we just need all kinds of things going on. We want life to be here.
Well, there's no doubt that we're making great strides and making a lot of progress, and it evolves around that team that Gerald's talking about. And who's the new addition coming on here in a couple of weeks that we want to talk about?
I'm very excited. The RN supervisor, she's going to be one of my right hands. She is, a lot of people may know her from Harris Hospital. She has a background in EMT paramedic. She's a nationally certified med-surg nurse.
Wow.
Lots of training, very experienced, very knowledgeable, and just very down to earth. She loves the community. She and I worked together at ASU Newport as well for a few years.
Right.
So we have a background together. She has done some long-term care as well. So we're just really excited to bring her on. She's going to be a great asset.
Well, there's no doubt we're, and again, headed in the right direction. And Gerald, you talk about the team and assembling the team. You've got to have a good team to have a good facility.
Oh, we do.
Absolutely.
We've gone from housekeeping to maintenance to nursing to just had to put all that together.
Right,
and,
absolutely.
Now that we've got them, place looks great, smells great, everything's working. We've got all our nurses in place. Everything's, like I said, moving right along.
Well, I see a lot of familiar faces in the facility that I have seen throughout my years of broadcasting on this channel, and I know this, that the team that we're assembling is solid and getting more solid every day, and we encourage folks that are interested, whether it's short-term or long-term care, to come visit with us, and we'll certainly give you a tour of the facility. And Haley, I know you talk about your right arm, and everybody's got to have a right arm. You got to have a good leader at the top, and we have that. And then everything trickles from there. Everything trickles from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I will say I have been so impressed with the staff that was already in place here. There have been several people throughout the facility who have truly cared, truly worked hard, went above and beyond their call. I was very impressed with how it was even when I walked in. So we're just going from there and making it better each day.
Well, with a Haley Thomas, with a Jay Cox, with a Gerald Carlisle, there's no doubt we're doing good things here at St. Michael's Place, and we certainly look forward to see what the future holds for you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
St. Michael's Place, Pecan Street. Let me tell you what, we've got it going on. We walk into customized vision care right here in the Village Mall in Newport. And when we see the beautiful staff that we have in the beautiful building, the first question that Ben and I get asked, what size shirt do you wear? Well, excuse me.
It's not a common thing to hear when you go elsewhere?
No, you walk into a eye vision care place. Eye vision care place. What's your name?
Cauliflower McPug.
Yes, it is. You're Mr. Cauliflower McPug. Gavin McDowell. But anyway, I just wanted to show some of these very, very sharp T-shirts at Customized Vision Care, which is what says that on the front. And then on the back, talks about the Newport Greyhounds, and it says, "See you in the end zone." I love it.
We're punny.
That's very punny. That has a pun to it. That has a very good pun. Beautiful shirt supporting the Newport Greyhounds. Hounds are doing well. We've got a nice set here. Yeah, it's got orange and black. And I want to know about this. What is that? I want the big blue
That's what we in the eye care and healthcare and craft industry call an eyeball.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a big styrofoam eyeball.
It's cool, man. It's cool.
One of our talented staff made that.
Rachel said she made that.
Yeah.
Painted all that. It's just a little ball and it's kind of
little eye fuzz.
Oh yeah, I have eye fuzz all the time, but it's real fuzzy in mine.
There's a drop to fix that.
That's it. Take a big drop to fix that
Yeah,
big eye.
big
I
old
love
drop.
that. But we're in the fall mood. We're in the
Yes.
Graham mood.
Yes.
We're festive. And
Festive.
we're taking care of people's eyes.
We have pumpkin spice eye drops and pumpkin spice glasses and pumpkin spice contacts, and
It's just what we do, isn't
that's
it?
right.
It's just what we do.
It's fall, y'all.
Do you have any orange-colored, orange-red, dark-colored contacts that kind of look like they're fall?
We can get those. Yes,
Can you really?
Yes,
No, I
we
was
can.
just kidding. I was
No, yeah.
making a joke, really.
No, I can get you contacts, make you look basically the way you want to look.
I thought you were going to say good, and I was going to say, I'll take some.
The technology has not gone that far. Now, if I could put contacts on everybody else in the world, I could make you look good.
That's exactly right.
By default.
By default. I appreciate that, sir.
Yeah.
Gavin McDowell has been doing this for a long time. We've been doing this show for a long time. And I continue to hear great comments about our
I do
show.
too.
Yeah,
I really
fun
do too.
It's fun to come in and
I like that we are the primetime draw.
we are, and people watch and people comment and people talk about what we talk about, and then hopefully along the way they'll kind of relate to what we do.
Exactly. I mean,
We
just by
hope-
accident.
Yeah,
Really,
we
really.
just hope, it's a great show. I know what you do. What's that other guy do? What's that other comedian do? Well, he takes care of eyes.
I'm an eye guy.
He's an
I mean,
eye
it's
guy.
hard to really discern that from how we talk and what we talk about sometimes. So.
I've asked you before, but it's been a while. And tell me again, and tell our folks again, why did you want to be an eye guy? Tell me that story. I
gosh.
remember the story. And why an eye guy?
Why did I want to be? No, realistically, I wanted to have the ability to help people on a daily basis that gives you that aha moment. You know, and I get at that a lot. And I'm sure you've seen videos, especially little kids. They put their first pairs of glasses on, they look at their parents, and they finally see what their mom looks like.
Absolutely.
And I get that on a very regular basis. But yeah, it's that ability to see the work,
Right.
coming to fruition, because there's a lot of things in medicine and healthcare that you get results.
Sure.
But not a lot of those results are right away, and not a lot of them are.
A lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
Tons of trial and error.
And what's great about working in vision is that the eyes are a very complex organ, and it ties in components of the nervous system. It ties in components of the vascular system. There's a lot of things that the eyes can tell us. So I'm not just pigeonholed into. I'm not a fancy jeweler.
Right.
I get the ability to help people and help people in their social aspect of their lives and make them look good with nice looking frames, but I get them to helping them see life better, and then I can help them in their overall health well-being, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
yeah, it's just one of those things I just really enjoy. All that I like the multifaceted part of it, where no day is the same. I'm not.
And every patient's different.
Oh,
every patient's
extremely different.
Yeah, they talk about this is this case, and it is a case because I mean you build a case and you trial and error back there, and then you look and see, and we talk about the trial and error on the contacts and guaranteed, it's a trial and error guaranteed contact lens success program. But interesting why you got in, and you're taking care of folks.
Yeah.
And you've taken care of me, and I appreciate that. And I do have a good feeling in my heart because I know you genuinely, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, care about my eyes. And that's something that you don't just get everywhere.
Right.
Even if I've gone somewhere else, I was feeling, let's try to fix you up here because Dr. McDowell said to kind of fix you up. And you've always concerned about how my eyes are, and I appreciate that because not everybody's like that.
Well, I'll put it this way. I am all about not running you through like cattle. I'm going to make sure I'm going to spend time with you. You're going to be heard. If I can't fix your specific problem, and trust me, people come in for routine eye exams all the time.
Right.
Nothing about an eye exam is routine ever, ever.
Just need
But you know, it's one of those things where people come in with the intention, I just want my glasses changed. That's fine. Is there anything else going on that you have problems with? And I kid you not, 9 times out of 10, people who come in for that routine exam, I've got this right here. It's been doing this for the last 3 weeks. I'm going to do everything in my power to fix everything, not just you wanting your glasses. That is not my sole intent. I'm going to fix any problem I can for you.
Technology, and we talk often about the technology and different machines, but you know, you get down especially on glasses or contacts, and I love which is better, 1 or 2? Okay, 2 or 3. Because I mean, the scope becomes smaller, and you get it just almost down where it's almost perfect. Which is better, 37, 38, 46, 47.
No, if I have to go that high, I've not done the workup to begin right.
It does take 4 or 5 checks there to clear it up.
I'll put it this way. I'll count as high as I have to get it right.
There you go.
I like to think I don't have to go that long into it.
I do like what you do tell me sometimes. You say, all right, what's the difference? 5 or 6. Probably not much difference there. And I go, well, there's not any difference there. I didn't think so. Yeah. You tell me before I tell you.
Here's the thing. A large number of cases, I already know. I mean, before I even hit the door, I've looked through the chart. My staff is fantastic. They get a lot of the information together for me before I come in.
Right.
I pretty much know what I'm going to do in many cases before I hit the room. But I'm not going to shortchange you. You're going to get a full, thorough exam no matter what I already know. Because you know what? You can ask my wife this. I've been wrong before.
No.
I know, it's hard to believe, but it has happened.
You've admitted to her?
No.
Okay.
She doesn't watch this.
No, she thinks you're wrong.
Yes.
Oh, she thinks
I'm
you're wrong.
There was one time I was wrong. It was one time I thought I was wrong, but I was really right. So anyway.
You were wrong, weren't you? Because you were right. Yes, I knew that.
But you're going to get a full-on, just all the way in deep exam, and I'm going to make sure that what I thought was the solution was actually the solution.
Do you ever, with a patient, and we don't script this at all, do you ever with a patient, you ever just back up and scratch your head a little bit and go, you know, this is kind of...
Okay, 2 things on that. 1, I don't think anybody ever thinks any of this that we do is scripted. 2, there's been some I've just pushed away you know what, I've got no idea. No idea. Because here's the thing. I like to think I'm an extremely smart person.
Sure.
And so, you know, what I know may be right here. Where you are may be up here. It may be outside my range. It may not be in my wheelhouse. Or there are some things, you know, here's the weird thing. There are many things in eye care. There's many different facets of eye care.
Right.
There are specialties. There's sports vision. There's low vision. There's pediatrics. There's vision therapy. There's a lot of different small little subspecialties within eye care as well.
Right.
And so I practice as a general optometrist here, and so I like to think I'm knowledgeable in all ranges.
Sure.
There are some things in, say, vision therapy that is basically we can train through different exercises, different tools to use to train the visual system to correct different things. Not everything. It's not, you know, if you're coming in here and you're -6 as far as your prescription goes, vision therapy ain't touching that.
Not helping, huh?
You know, children with crossed eyes, an eye turn, poor fusion, basically the eye's not working properly together. A lot of things can be improved vastly or fixed through vision therapy. I know some general basics to vision therapy. There are some things that I do in office here, and I will send home things with some patients, you know, try this at home. We'll try that for a few months and see how that responds. There are some conditions, though, that just ain't going to do it.
Right.
You have to have a full-on vision therapy regimen prescribed to you.
Right.
I'm not the guy to do that.
You're not the guy.
And I'm not even going to fiddle with that, because there are some things you can do that will make it worse if you don't do it right.
Right.
So yeah, I will.
What you do, you recommend
I'll
somebody?
I'll refer you out to somebody else, because if it's not if I know in my heart that I cannot, if I'm not the right person to fix your problem,
right,
I'm going to find the person that's going to fix your problem.
And I think all of us appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think everybody appreciates a good doctor for saying, it's not really my expertise, but this is my opinion, and I think you need to get somebody who had a more extensive training, or they're more trained in that. And you certainly, if you're having a problem with your eyes, you don't go see the heart surgeon.
Exactly.
You don't.
And I have patients all the time. We are mandated through your tax dollars at work.
Yes.
I have to check blood pressure.
Right.
And we have to evaluate BMI, body mass index.
Right. Yeah.
So I need your height and weight. We're going to ask. I'm not going to put you on a scale for the most part, unless I know you're lying. But anyway, we have to check these things. But like with blood pressure, I have patients come in all the time, and we'll check the blood pressure, and it's sky high.
Right.
I'm not going to diagnose anybody with high blood pressure, because I'm not going to pee in that pool. That's not
exactly
me to
right.
determine. Like, you need to go see your PCP.
That's
they
correct.
They need to get you.
They
on
will
blood
let
pressure
you
meds.
know.
Yes, they will take care of that.
Here's your numbers.
Yes, yeah.
Tell them.
I'm not a psychic, and I know it doesn't take a lot of fancy schooling to know that like a 200 over 180 is not a good blood pressure.
That's not good, is it?
It's not good for you, me, or anybody else.
Well, I do know this, folks. If you're out there and you don't have an eye doctor,
or if you do,
you
just want to get another one.
That is correct. Well, and you're thinking about changing, and you want to have a little fun and get you some. Whether you get glasses or contacts, or you get your eye health examinations, this guy right here, I promise you, this guy makes it fun. He does in the office, he does on the interview here. We're probably a little funnier here than what we actually get when we get back there in the room.
I try to walk that fine line.
Yeah, you try to get a little bit more professional.
Yeah,
but here's fun. This is fun. We like to have fun in telling folks about how professional we are.
I like people to know that I'm human.
That's
why I do this the way I do.
Come see Dr. Gavin McDowell, or give them a call at 870-523-3333.
That last 3 is very important.
The last one.
The last
3333.
Yes.
333. Dr. Gavin McDowell, good to see you, my friend.
You as well.
Come see us, Village Mall, Newport, Arkansas.
Hello and welcome to the October edition of the Farmers Supply Association Agriculture Report. I'm Randy Klepechka, agronomist with Farmers Supply Association. First thing I want to do is give you a little bit of a harvest update. Kind of been a harvest that has drug out a long time. I thought we'd really have hopefully a quick and efficient harvest this year. Our crops were fairly early and everything, but just had too many rainy spells. If you look at the records for September, we had rain on 12 days out of the 30. October's been a little bit better, but we've had rain, I think, on 3. We're taping on the 11th, and we've had rain on 3 out of the first 11 days. So, it hasn't been the best weather for harvest. It's kind of been hit or miss. It's been sporadic. We're making progress. There's still a decent amount of rice in the field. A lot of people are cutting beans now, but still a lot of beans in the field. So it's just been one of those harvests that's really drug out. We're making progress, but still a ways to go. And I'm sure, probably quite a bit of things still harvested maybe in November. Hopefully we can get a good run of weather here and get this thing knocked out. But just a slower, more erratic harvest than you would like. Yields have been mostly pretty good. Looking at rice, kind of my general statement on rice has been, our hybrids have yielded really good for the most part, the yields I've heard. The non-hybrids have been a little more inconsistent. We've had some really top-notch non-hybrid yields, but then again, we've had some, mid-range and even some lower ones. So just kind of erratic when you get away from the hybrids. Looking at soybeans, most of the yields I've heard so far have been good. We thought we had a good bean crop in the field. We've had some other issues though. We talked about that rain. We've had some quality issues on some of these earlier beans. We're having demand issues, low demand for soybeans, and this has really triggered some discounts at the elevator that we don't like, that we're having to take, our farmers are having to take. So, because of those quality issues and demand issues, they're looking at things a little bit tighter on soybeans right now. So, with the price being low already, down around $8, it's not the best economic times for soybeans, and rice is really, prices are low also, but at least we're having a pretty good crop for the most part. It's getting into that time of the year. I don't really have anything in the field to talk about. We've talked about harvest, but as far as recommendations, not really anything. So what I like to do, generally between now and next spring, is just talk about some of the things that we've dealt with, in the past year, in this case 2018, and some ways maybe we can look to 2019 and remember some of these things that have happened in 2018 and kind of use them to our benefit as we plan. One of the big things we've dealt with, or people have talked about in 2018, was rice weed control. It's probably one of the grassiest or weediest crops we've had in a while. A lot of people have said that. It's not just really in our area. It's really been kind of a statewide issue that people have been talking about around the state. It's not just every field being just totally grown up. I mean, there are definitely some really grown up fields around this year, and a lot of them lodged early because they were so grown up, but a lot of it is more cosmetic, maybe causing just a little bit of yield loss, but not anything just terrible that's kind of look bad from the road, you might say. And then, obviously there's always clean fields as well. So it's not just devastating, but most people have noticed that it was a grassier crop than normal. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the factors that have caused that this year, and maybe some things we can do in the future. Anytime you make a general statement in agriculture about things being maybe bad or not as good as they ought to be on a general widespread basis like this, we're talking about really statewide pretty much, you can almost bet that weather is involved in it to some extent, and I think certainly that's the case with this grassier crop. Two things. One is a dry period, and one was a hotter than normal period early in the season. If you look at rainfall totals from Newport, from about the 27th of April, I think, to about the 19th of May, we had a few showers in that period, but none of them were more than a half an inch. That's the time of the year we're wanting to get those pre-emergence herbicides activated. They're such a big key to weed control in all of our crops nowadays. But we've got to get those pre-emergence herbicides into the soil. They got to get activated by either rainfall or flush. And if we have a dry period like that, then a lot of times they don't get activated. And we have weeds coming up through these pre-emerged herbicides, and they can get away from us pretty quickly. To that end, most of our post-emergence grass herbicides don't work quite as well when it's, we're having above normal, warmer to hot temperatures. And lo and behold, the month of May was the third warmest since where the records have been taken in Arkansas. So we had those abnormally warm temperatures. So we had the escapes coming through these residual herbicides. We had warmer than normal temperatures, so maybe our post-emergence herbicides didn't work quite as well as they ought to. So kind of a double whammy with weather there. Another factor, making timely applications. There's a lot of things go into that. First, sometimes just the weather, winds and things like that won't allow you to make timely applications, so that's part of it, weather again. Sometimes, nowadays a lot of our guys are planting their soybeans quite a bit earlier, so we've got soybeans next to rice. Some of the common herbicides we use in rice for grass control nowadays are some of the ALS herbicides, including obviously Newport, one of those, but Newport's not one we're really concerned about around beans, but with regiment and also with grasp, those are a couple of ALS herbicides that will damage soybeans severely. So if we've got rice next to soybeans, sometimes it's difficult to get those applications out because you're worried about damaging the soybeans. You also, obviously, propanil can damage soybeans and some other herbicides as well. So it makes it difficult sometimes to get these timely herbicide applications when you got beans next to rice. So that's another issue. Resistance issues. We're getting more and more herbicide resistance, and it doesn't get any better because once we have a population resistant to a certain herbicide or family of herbicides, it's going to stay resistant. Interesting thing, we've sent off some samples, and not just me. A few years ago, one farmer did, and then I sent off a sample for a farmer in Poinsett County last year it was, and they come back resistant to pretty much every family of herbicides we use in rice. On both of these samples, the only thing that the barnyard grass was still susceptible to was bolero and prowl, a couple of our pre-emergence herbicides. So, when you've got resistance issues like that, and the only thing that's susceptible is a couple of pre-emergence herbicides, that makes it pretty difficult, and you'll have some weed issues pop up on you that you don't expect because of all these resistance issues. Sometimes simply weed pressure is a big deal. Occasionally I'll get in just a few fields every year where the barnyard grass or other grasses are so thick that you can't even get good coverage with one application. So what you try to do is kill out kill out what you can get coverage on, and have to come back with another application. Either you don't do that, or the weeds get too big, and that can be an issue. Application issues can always be a problem. We've got to get coverage on these weeds to be able to control them. So applications have got to be good, and we can't have any issues with coverage on our weeds. A new herbicide this year, Loint. We have to talk about that as well. Maybe we were expecting a little too much out of Loint this year. Really thought it was going to pretty much control everything in the field in a lot of cases, and that really was not the case. We got some really good broadleaf control, some good sedge control out of Loint, but it seemed like it was a little more erratic, especially on barnyard grass, and we knew it was weaker on springle top. But again, maybe just expecting too much out of Loint. Now, hopefully we can make Loint work. There's other issues as well, injury to soybeans, injury even to rice with Loint. So hopefully we can get all that worked out. It is still a good herbicide that we need, and again, for sedges and broadleaves, it can be a really huge benefit. So hopefully we can make that herbicide work and be able to use that. So those are a lot of causes for this problem. What to do in the future? There's no silver bullets, obviously. We got to keep overlapping residuals. You need to get a residual out at planting, or at least before the first rainfall or flush occurs, and then get that activated. And as soon as that's activated and we get another potential chance for rain, or you're going to flush it or something like that, get another residual herbicide out there. Generally, if you can get two good applications out there, then that'll take you a long way to a good grass control program. We've got Command, we've got Facet, we've got Bolero, we've got Prowl, we've got various premixes and tank mixes that you can make with that. So I think a lot of people are doing overlaying residuals now, but everybody needs to be doing it in pretty much every situation. So we need to get that done. Again, the timely post-emerge applications, that's such a big key. We've got to get those applications out, hopefully, normally on 1 to 3 leaf grass. It's been kind of always the rule of thumb. Sometimes we can kill bigger grass, but it's much easier to kill when it's smaller. We need to know our resistance issues. And sometimes you just have to take samples and send them to university as a testing program. If you'll take mature seed heads in the fall, a little bit late for this year, but in the future, think about that so we can know what resistance issues we have in a field and know how to attack these weed issues if we know the resistance issues. Kind of coordinate our neighboring crops. Try to avoid different herbicide technologies planted next to each other. For example, the clear field and non-clear field rice, they're right next to each other. That can make applications difficult. Putting the new path out and worrying about getting it on the conventional rice, that can be an issue and can make us have some grown-up fields. Try to, again, coordinate those neighboring crops. Sometimes it's hard to coordinate with your neighbor, but at least you can work on your own farm and try to avoid those situations. Also, maybe plant STS beans next to rice fields. That way we can use the regiments and the grasps and things like that without having to worry about damaging our beans. And finally, as we mentioned earlier, let's get some good applications out there and get good coverage. So again, that was, talking about the weed issue we had this past year. What caused it, some things we can do in the future to hopefully combat it. So let's keep these things in mind and hopefully have a cleaner rice crop in 2019. If you need any more information, you can contact me through Farmers Supply Association. Cell number is 870-318-0739, or you can email me at randyklopechka@gmail.com.
My good friend, Mr. Ted Hall at White River Area Agency on Aging. Always my pleasure to get to see you, my friend. How are you, sir?
I'm good, David. If they knew everything that went on before we went on air,
it'd been a good show.
It'd be a good show.
That's probably a better show than the show we do.
Yeah, well, don't say that.
No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Because we have important stuff. We have good stuff to talk about, Mr. Ted.
Yeah.
Anytime we visit with White River Area Agency on Aging, we're talking about a group of people that are special to our heart and programs that we have in place and improvements we're trying to make for those older people.
Absolutely. You know, David, I was talking to you before the show. We wanted to talk about, although it's the month of September, we talk about the Good Neighbor Month and how we can help seniors. And hopefully we're doing that all the time, but they kind of emphasize that on the national scale. AARP, that's kind of their theme for the month. But, you know, it is important this month, past month of September. It's important, seem like in November and December, but really every month, every day is important for us to be good neighbors to our seniors. And David, that's one reason the Meals on Wheels programs and those kind of programs that we really fight for, whether it be on the state level or whether it be on the national level, is that by having that program, not only are we providing meals, but we also are getting people into seniors' homes. And that's the reason why the Meals on Wheels. Now, we like for people to come to our senior centers and eat, and that's really a good thing. They can get a good meal there for a low-cost donation. And so it is just important that we continue to be sure that we check on our neighbors, make sure they're doing okay, and that's really kind of the theme really throughout the month of September. And although this will be aired in October, we need to be good neighbors
all the time.
All the time. And then the other thing that actually was another important theme for the month really throughout the country is called the National Recovery Month, and where we do deal with folks that have substance abuse. And so how does this relate to seniors? Well, it is really a big problem in the area of meds, and it's not so much it's that the doctor's fault or anybody's fault about all this, but it is dealing with prescription drugs and how those folks, our seniors, use those. And sometimes they take the drugs that they took before they went to the doctor. They take the drugs that they were prescribed when they went to the doctor, and if they have to go to the hospital, they might be taking 3 sets of drugs. Now, that sounds a little far out.
No, but you're right.
It does happen, and so we just want to make sure that all this area of substance abuse is that we keep an eye on how, again, part of being a good neighbor is that we do get involved and that we do kind of check on what's going on as seniors get older. And of course, the area of dementia and Alzheimer's is really becoming an issue throughout the country. And as we have an older America, David, then obviously these type of diseases and those kind of, there's going to be more of them because there's more people turning 65 every day. In fact, there's 10,000 people turning 65 every day in America. So this kind of brings into a little bit of what I want to talk about, the other thing I want to talk about. We just got back from the National Area Agency on Aging Conference, and really it was interesting to me, and they talked about that we are in a world of change, and that the folks that take care of advertising and products have somehow, when they get to the age 60 or 65, this country has almost stopped in this area. And so they're in the observation of the folks that look down the road, they're going to be encouraging our business folks to start looking at the folks that are turning 65 or older. And if you think about this, whether most of the time that you see advertisement on TV, you'll see the young folks and all that.
It targets younger folks.
That's right. And then the other thing is that with all the young companies that are being promoted, that are coming up in the country, they have these younger workers, but there is an absence of older workers. And so the people that work for them. So what's interesting, the business world, when are they going to catch up with who their customers are going to be? And for a long period of time, it's going to be those of us, Dave, that are 65 and older. And because the technologies that we have right now are really going to increase the length of time in which older folks are going to be alive.
Absolutely.
And so it used to be, you made the 60s or 70s. Well, now they have medicines and they have research that are helping people live longer. And even, it's not going to be unusual to have people living into their hundreds here for very long. And so, it's interesting, even products like glasses, because they used to make them for the young look, and that, well, they're having now to make glasses that will appeal to 65 and older.
Sure.
And even those of us that wear a hearing aid, they're going to provide services where you can actually have music and those kind of things really will be fit into your hearing aid. So it's just a crazy.
Technology's amazing.
It's just amazing. And so that's really going to be the key as we look down the road of how technology is going to be used for seniors. Now, one of the biggest problems that we're facing throughout the country is this area of isolation and loneliness. And so they even have and the folks that talk and say this is crazy, but anyway, they've developed already online. They have a robot now. How cost effective and all this, I don't know, David.
Right.
But at some point in time, there will be robots in our homes that will help us. If we have someone in a wheelchair, they'll be able to have a robot that can reach up there and get the glasses out of the cabinet, or even change the light bulb they talked about, or even carry on a conversation. So lots of this sounds like a wacko or whatever, but anyway, we're in a changing world, David.
It is a changing world.
And we need to be looking at that. And so this is one thing that we do with our board of directors here at White River Area Agency on Aging. We're trying to figure out where we fit in the scheme of things 5 and 10 years and 20 years down the road. So we'll make sure that we're providing the kind of services that our older folks need. So
as the world changes, we change at White River Area.
So anyway, we're trying to do that. We're trying to look at what we need to do to make sure we're providing services. But we do know that we're in homes every day. We're providing a lot of service for people, and that will never change.
That is right.
But how we do it, and but the bottom line, David, it is true that most people want to stay home, and the nursing homes have their place.
Absolutely.
And all that. But most people want to stay at home, so we help them do that. So it's kind of an exciting time, Dave. So you asked me how I'm doing. I'm doing great.
You are great.
And we just want to make sure that we're moving forward at White River Area Agency on Aging for our seniors.
Mr. Ted Hall, that is great stuff, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Great
Thank
stuff.
you.
A changing world, and White River Area Agency on Aging changing right along with it.
You bet.
Keeping up with the times. This is Mr. Ted Hall with White River Area Agency on Aging.